Hello everyone, welcome to another day in Shroud of the Avatar, and today we're in game with Scarface, and I thought I would finish off with this deck building series that we've been working on. And what we're going to be dealing with today is going to be some advanced decks, some mistakes that people make, or the common mistakes that people make in decks, and then how we can change equipment using decks, and then finally something special at the end that's come in this last release. So if you want to wait until the end of the video, there's a newer item that's come into the game which I thought I would show you. So first of all, we'll go into the common mistakes that people make in a game and they wonder why things are happening. Now, you normally can get greyed out items on your bars and things like this, so I'm just going to change my weapon here, and we've got a sword deck equipped. Good. Now if I go into combat with this particular deck, you'll notice that these are greyed out. Now there's a good reason why they're greyed out. If we look up here, your weapon is broken. That's one reason why you might have a greyed out symbol down here, for instance. Another reason that you might have greyed out items is if we do something else. And let me go into the range deck. You could have the wrong weapon equipped. So I'm just going to do this purposely. Now if I go into combat, you'll notice that they're greyed out. Let's just change the weapon for a non-broken one so you can see that they're still greyed out. That's because these are bow items, so of course you can't use them with swords. So that would be two reasons why you might get that error. So all you have to do is either fix it by equipping the right weapon, or if you've got a broken sword, of course, then change it to repair your sword or replace it. So that's one of the mistakes that some people make in regards to why greyed out items might appear on your combat bar. Now some people have said that they've had problems when they're building a deck, items being greyed out, and what that is if we look into my bad deck, as I've called it, and we're going to modify this, and if we go to the top of it and we choose glyph, you can see we've got some greyed out tiles up here. The reason why these are greyed out is simply because these cards cannot be drawn. There is no place for them to go, and that's because I've locked this one. These are all fixed random tiles, as we've talked about before, and this one's fixed, but I put up the aim shot in here, but they can't go anywhere because it's actually a locked tile. A couple of ways of dealing with this problem, of course, is I can unlock the tiles so they become totally random, but if I want to leave it remain locked, I just need to create spaces for it by double stacking, or leaving a space. Now those cards amongst all of the other cards can appear in that slot, so there's a couple of ways of dealing with that particular problem. But if you get a greyed out items up here, it's because they can't be drawn. Now I thought what I would do next is I would look at some of my decks with this character, because it's a character that's been around, he's got lots of skills, and we'll have a look at some of them. Now we're going to look at the equipment first, and I'm just going to set up two decks here. Now we're in a combat situation and we're attacking a target at range. Now it happens to be a melee target. Okay, it's coming towards me with his swords and his shield. He's charging towards me, and I could run around with the bow, but it's not my style because I'm a tanking player. So all I have to do is, by setting an alternative deck, which you can easily do by clicking on that and then set alternative, we can click this one here, and you'll see that I will change deck and weapon. So now I've changed into my SW deck. So, and how that is achieved is in the deck. If we go to modify, down here you've got use current equipment. So when you're building your sword deck in this case, you would then build the deck up and make certain you've got the equipment that you need for the deck, and then use current equipment, and then that will set it. Now if we actually have a look at the ranged deck, you'll see that it's a different style of deck, and also it has the bow equipped. So you can see it's got different equipment, and that's how you can change between decks and styles. So now we've covered how you can actually change weapons. Somebody was asking about how they carry a torch, for instance, without having to keep on taking it out of the bag and then putting it onto their character. Well, you can just create a torch deck, one whereby it can be an empty deck because it doesn't matter, and then you could just have it so you're just carrying the torch as an equipped item. So those are a couple of ways of managing your decks. So now I thought I would look at a couple of my decks and the reasons why I have them, and some advanced ways of laying a deck out. So I'm going to look at my ranged deck first, and we can see here that we're double stacking behind. So we've got disabling shot here, and we've got rapid fire, and here we've got piercing shot and blinding shot. Now that means I can have more tiles of different types out. That means that either this one or this one can appear here, so you know, it's just a way of managing it so you can carry more tiles. I've chosen to keep all my health ones there because normally I'm attacking very hard targets with this kind of a deck. And I thought we'd have a look at the I've got two types of sword deck. I've been playing around with death magic, so we've got some death magic here and some swords and shield, death shield for instance, and a death touch. But the problem with, or not a problem with death magic, what you can't use it against is the undead. So if you're suddenly fighting some elves and then suddenly a skeleton comes and attacks you, for instance, you can't use this ability against it. So what I have done is created a deck specially for the undead, and if we have a look at that one, it's a similar style of deck, except it's got fire in there, because of course the undead don't like fire, and there's some glyphs done here. Now something else I've done with this deck is I've done the ability to do some combos, which we've not talked about. Now you can mix two tiles together and create a combo. Now if I filter this one, you can do lots of things. If I go untick that one, these are the combos that I can make. And if we look at the two bladed ones I can make, we can see that the ones that I'm after is that one and that one. So I'm just going to quickly show you another way of utilising the deck so you can create combos. I have done it here, but it's not clear enough, so what we will do is we'll make a new deck, and we're going to be dealing with, I'm going to use this over here to pull it in because I know what I need. If you want to know what makes a combo and what's available, these are all of the combos in the game, and the ones that are lit up you can actually do because you have the skills. You can either filter them by school, and something else you can do is show unavailable combos. And then if you untick that, it will show you all the combos that you can make. So you can see the one that you want, so I'm going to make this one up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the double slash and plonk it in there, and then I'm going to put a single slash and plonk it in there. Now you can't do them as locked tiles, that's one of the rules. So now we'll just put all of the thingies in there. Got 5 of those, and a double slash to Be nice if you could move all of them across, wouldn't it? And the other combo that I was looking for is another sword one, is this one here, which I need to stab. 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then I need the saw blade, which is, oh no, that's what it's going to make, sorry. I need the whirling blades, and then we go 2, 3, 4, 5, and then what I'm going to do, I think that's going to, now we're going to have some slugs in this deck, but it's not going to be a problem because it's pretty much just showing you how you can do combos in deck building. So if we now do call this one, so we know what it is, and I've got a sword deck equipped, so I'll just equip that one, and then if we go into combat, wait for the tiles to come up. Now I can match those two, because I've got this thingy there, it's not working too well, but I can match these two and make a sword deck. So you can see that I can actually thing with them. Now if you do get multiples of them together, you can actually make stronger ones and stronger ones, but it does take a lot of effort to do that. And of course, if you've got a lot of the same ones coming up, if they are the same, you can stack them again and make a stronger single attack as well. So you can do these types of decks. I mean, this particular deck would have a lot more. One deck that I did create that was similar to this was I put these over here, and then I created a second area over here. So, but it's a way which you can use combos in the game, and it's play around with decks, work out how they work for you more than anything. Now the only other thing I think is to show you the new thing that came into the game in this last release. I think it was in this last release, it was either in this one or the one before, and it's the ability to use your hotkeys to swap between decks. So if I bring up my deck again, and what you can actually do, in fact I can't do that, we need to bring up the menu. If you go to your interface menu and you scroll down, not to interface, wrong one, controls, there we go, you'll see that if you scroll down you've got equip deck 1, equip deck 2, 3, 4, 5 through to 10. Now they're normally blank, they've got no key bindings to them. I've chosen to use F1 through 5, I have got 6 and 7 in there, but I can only see me using 5 decks personally. And I use the F keys. Now normally they're bound to be a hotkey for targeting group members, but the only person who needs to do that is a healer, who needs to quickly choose a number of a person. So basically I chose to use those keys, but you can use any key that suits you. If you've got a nice mouse with 10 buttons on it, for instance, you could use those. And how they actually work is very handy, because if we wanted to change from the 2 decks, we would have to come out of combat, try and change it, and it meant that you could only ever have the 2 decks. But with this new hot swapping system, if I bring up my decks and then we go into combat, and I'm going to switch to my range deck like I would normally. I've got a melee target coming in and things like this. Now I want to change to my normal fighting deck. Well, the second one down happens to be F2, so now I can hit F2, and now some skeletons are coming attacking me. I would have to either use my range one in this case if I was just using this one down here, but seeing as I know I've got an death range deck, I can actually hit F3, which is the deck which I planned for fighting the undead, And now I've got some fire elementals coming at me. It's a very bad day up there, by the way. I can hit F5, which is a deck that I created for fighting fire elementals, and it wasn't deck 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's F4. So now, because fire elementals, of course, we need douse and things like that. So you see how you can use the F keys to actually change your combat decks. So I hope I've covered all of the questions and queries that people have had in regards to deck building, and I hope I've covered most of the problems. If you do have any more questions, of course, feel free to put them in the section below. And of course, if you are new to my channel, do please follow me on Twitch and subscribe to me on YouTube so I can grow those channels. And as I've said before, feel free to leave any comments in the areas below and I will get back to you. And thank you for watching.